And hello everyone, welcome back to another Tkinter tutorial. Today we'll be taking a chill and just talking about some sliders. So you slide it up or down and you can change the number value. It's pretty neat. It's almost like this. And in a sense you could probably implement this with what I'm going to teach you in a similar way. Although this slider actually gives you numbers. So you may have noticed, like, if you go to websites, there's like maybe like a slider to say how old are you or something like that. And you slide it to tell you what your age should be or whatnot. Yeah, it's something like that. So let's actually just get into it. So I'm going to do a vertical slider first. So I'm just going to call it vertical slider. I'm going to make that equal to a scale, because that's kind of what we're using. We're kind of scaling the data with a slider. And we can say it's attached to root. And remember, root is from here, which is just tk. And in here we can say from, and this is basically from where to where it's going to count. And this should have an underscore because from is a reserved keyword in Python. And here we can say, let's say 0. And then we can say 2, and this does not need an underscore because 2 is not a reserved keyword in Python. And we can say 100. And now here we can actually just pack it. We don't need to put it inside of a variable. Let's just pack it. .pack. And here we go. Now if we were to run this, we'll have a little slider. As you can see there, it counts up until 100. So from 0 to 100, and you can slide it there as you need it. So yeah. But what if you wanted this to be horizontal? Because most of the time, this is kind of inconvenient. Because why does it have to take this space? So let me just do gloop. So how you can swap it to kind of be horizontal instead is you can say orient for orientation. And we can make that equal to, in all caps, horizontal. There we go. Now this will do the same, but it will flip it to be horizontal. So now as you can see there, that is much better because that just looks much better and it feels much better to do. So yeah, that's actually the basics. Now what if we wanted to get a value from here? Well, then we can go here, and we're just going to call this slider. So let's go here and say slider is equal to, and then we just put it equal to scale. And then we can say slider dot pack. Cool. Now here we can maybe call a function, define show data. And this show data will show the function data. So I'm going to create a label. So I'm going to say label. And this label will be attached to root. And the text on this label will be what is inside of slider, right? But we can't just say slider. We have to say .get. We have to say .get because we can't just say slider because that's a component. So we have to say get to get the text of that component. And you can say .pack. Now if we were to run this, then now nothing will happen because we didn't actually say when it should show the data. So we can create a button. And this button can be attached to root and can have the text of show value. And in here we can just say command is equal to show data. And we can just pack it to the screen. Cool. Now if we were to run it, let's say we make this 44. We get 44. Make it 79. We get 79. Make it 100. And then let's say make it 0, as you can see there. Okay, so let's just go through everything what we did again. So we created a scale or a slider. And we can say where it starts from. So we can make this 100 if we wanted to. And say it can go up until 1000. That is completely possible and okay to do. You can even go lower and say from 10 to 5, or from 5 to 10, I should say. And in here, we create a function that shows the data. Now this just basically packs a label onto the screen so we can see what's inside of the slider. And we can see what's inside of the slider thanks to this .get method we have here. And in here we just have a button that calls that function here whenever it's clicked. So if we run this, as you can see, now it starts at 100 and moves all the way up until to 1000. And yeah, that's pretty neat, right? Now there are a lot more you can do here, such as set the width, maybe even set the height if I'm not mistaken, even set a variable to store the data it returns in. You can do a ton of things here. I'm not going to cover everything though, because it's just, most of these things you can either Google or just use, if you use VS Code, you can just say comma and it will give you everything you can use. For example, here's width, here is tick interval, here is the slider length, here is the resolution, and there's just a ton of things. Here's label, and let's actually try and use label here, just as an example. Label, and it said it was a string, so we can just say is equal to slider, and that's all I'm going to say. If we were to run this, as you can see now, it has a slider there at the top, and that's its label. And there we go. So yeah, that's the basics of a slider. Thank you all for watching. I hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you all again in the next Python tutorial.